Good morning, everybody. Hope that you all are well. Welcome to another trade review or week recap. Yeah, we're gonna run through what happened for the week, um, do my wins, my losses, and yeah, let's just run into it. Obviously, we have Mondays. I don't trade Mondays, but this Monday I actually enjoyed it. I could tell where price was gonna go and stuff, so it was really clean Monday. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't take any trades though, and as you guys can see, the first fair value gap right over here was utilized. Actually, this right over here. If we had waited for price to come back into this first fair value gap right over here, come back into it, I called this trade while I was in while I was in it. Now I wasn't in it while we're live. Loss over there. Obviously, would have been gone through a little bit of drawdown right over there, but the trade would have been such a clean trade. As you guys can see, price came in, and then we had a little bit of drawdown, just like it's basically Friday's trade. Yes, because if you had to use this for value gap, you would have gotten stopped out, because obviously my stop loss would have been below there. I would have been gotten stopped out, and then price would have went my direction. And then TP1 was this right over here, and then TP2 was this daily high that we have over there, which is TP1 right over there, and then TP2 right over there. That was basically the trade that I called out. One thing I wanna highlight is during the macro, this is so nice when price got this daily high, we had this fair value gap, and then price tapped into that, and then went all the way back down to go take out the London lows and these nice relative equal lows right over here. Very clean trade, bro. Very clean trade setup. I'm not gonna lie. That was very nice. But I was not recording at this time. I was done. Usually after the macro, I'm done recording. So that was a really clean trade. Monday's trade, this was really clean. The price action. Okay, I could just see. I could just see it. It was just obvious for me. It was just one of those days where it was just really obvious. So yeah, that was nice. That was really nice. And then we have Tuesday. Bum, bum, bum. Where's Tuesday? Oh, there you go. It's Tuesday. Uh, Yo, yeah, Tuesday. Yeah, I missed this trade, bro. I missed this trade. Literally, when I wanted to enter and when I saw this happen, because I was kind of on my phone, I'm not gonna lie. And then I missed this trade. I tried to shorted, not short, I tried to long. I wanted to long this, but by the time when I saw it, price was already like up here, and I'm not gonna enter the trade when we fall off extended, because number one, it means I'm gonna have to risk way less than I usually do, which is not a problem, but nah, and my stop loss is gonna have to be bigger if I'm gonna risk way less, because my stop loss usually would be below this, and then my entry would be around about there. And then obviously we had this London high that I had marked. That was my target. So TP1 would have been this over here, and then TP2 this over here. That was literally my trade idea. But yeah, I missed it. I missed it. I honestly missed it. I was not really attentive on the charts. I was on my phone, man. But when I wanted to enter it, it was already far off extended. But I told myself, if it does come back, I will enter the trade. But I was not granted that opportunity. I took that loss, and I think that FOMO kind of played out later in the day, because then that's where the loss happened. I tried to take a trade down here when I tried to short it when price left the first fair value gap. I tried to short this. I was in this actually. I was in a bit of profit with this area here. I was in a bit of profit with this area right over here. But it didn't work out. As you guys can see, price ended up, oh, what? Price ended up reversing and then up, and then yeah, this was my trade idea. This is the second trade. I think, like, honestly, this me doing this, usually I leave the chance of the it just generally came back. My psychology just came out of the FOMO of like, oh, I missed this trade. Now that it's gonna go below the first value gap, it's gonna short, and I got taught a lesson with that. And price literally just reversed, came back up here, went lower. I did see it when it was up here. I saw this. But I didn't take this trade. I was like, let me just stick to my rules and rather wait to use the first fair value gap. But this was a clean setup, shorting from here to here. I think you guys can see it on the video, on the Wednesday video, when you guys see the trade ideas that I had. It was this, uh using this to come in here, and then the other one was the same thing, but then when price left it, coming back inside. It was that. And I lost this one. This one would have worked out. The one I should have taken would have worked out. But yeah, but I didn't take it. I didn't take it. I took the losing one. So that was basically Tuesday. What? Oh, that was basically Tuesday. And then Wednesday I took a loss. So Wednesday, let's go. Wednesday. Yeah. Wednesday. This is Wednesday. We had this big fair value gap. I need to really work the when I need one thing I have to note is that when we have big fair value gaps, I'm gonna have to be a little bit more patient with them because they're big. Like there's no way I'm gonna enter a short with my stop loss below that. Like example, let's just say if I had used this big fair value gap, let's just say short, and I had used this, and then my stop loss would have been over 125 just to go. That's ridiculous. There's no way. So one thing I need to teach myself is just be a little bit more patient and use fair value gaps that happen within this one within the first fair value gap. Which is something I did do. Which is something I did do. When I think when the 15-minute candle closed, I waited for price to come back inside this, right? And which we got that retracement, and then I entered using this for value gap right over here to go short. As you can see, I was in profit for some time, but the one thing I did miss is that literally this was supposed to be my first take profit when price pierced through this, because this was yes, it was these lows right over here. I should have taken my first TP there, but I didn't. I held it because of the risk reward, I think. And yeah, sometimes that does get to me because like it doesn't make sense. This was the trade, stop loss was below that, and then it wasn't bad. I should have just taken it, but I didn't take it at the time. What happened? Wait, it was my phone. I need to see the executions actually. Did I take it or they just completely flop? Um, let's go back to what day is this? The 25th. What day is this? The 24th. The 24th. Oh, okay, I got fooled at the bad. Okay, I see where I got fooled. I did not enter. When I entered the short, I entered over here. That's why I didn't take that as my first TV. I see my mistake. I actually used price coming in to this. I used when price left this first fair value gap, this big one, and it was coming into it right over here. I actually used that as an entry instead of waiting for it to come into this fair value gap, because I had waited for it to come back into this fair value gap. Number one, my risk reward would have been way better, my stop loss, and then I could have just used that low as my first TP, which wasn't gonna be a bad one. I'm not gonna lie, $20, and then and then I would have just made $10. Yes, I would have just made $10 on the day, but obviously that's not what happened. So yeah, that's a lesson. Could have been a $10 profit day, but it wasn't that. Cause a bit of impatience there. Uh, yeah, yeah. So I basically got filled like around about here when price was coming back inside. But yeah, that was not a good. This was not good. That's what. Yeah, should have just planned this trade a little bit more better, been a little bit more patient. But yeah, yeah, could have done better on my end regarding that. Was this Wednesday? Yeah. What does this show for the micro? Was a clean trade. Oh, and during the macro, I still would have lost because on the macro, I would have wanted to use this to short. As you guys can see, I would have used it to short right over here. Price coming back, just falling far from it though. But rather using it as an inverse, as you guys can see there, price using this, the moment it overlapped this fair value gap, left it, and then as it was going up, I would have just shorted that, and then that would have been a nice short. What time was this? Yeah, during the macro, and it would have been a little bit consolidating a bit, but would have been a clean trade overall. But yeah, but obviously I didn't do that. I'll take my L. And definitely a lesson when we get these big first fair value gaps. You need to be very careful with them because that range is insane, and rather wait for it to be at a premium or discount, depending whether you're buying or selling, of course. But yeah, that was basically it. And it actually ended up going to my target because I anticipated price coming back into this, and then only later on after it swept these relative equal highs over here. You guys see that these nice relative equal highs, it swept that, reversed, went down, respected the upper half of this big first fair value gap, and then price went back higher. Yeah, that's basically it. And then we had Thursday, Thursday. Beautiful day, actually. I genuinely wish I had. Thing is, I had to stick it to my rules at the time. I trust me, I think I said on the video. I really wanted to short this, but I was like, I had to wait for that 15 minute because what if price comes back here, reverses, and then, but I was not granted that opportunity. Price literally just melted, bro. Melted, which was insane, crazy meltdown. And I saw opportunity with this, but I had missed it at the time because I was on my phone when I was on MetaTrader getting ready to take the trade. Uh, the short over here, because this would have been a better short actually, because I would have risked less on the trade. I would have risked less, and my first TP, yeah, I would have risked less on the trade, and also I was aiming for a daily low. Um, but I should have just been more careful with price coming into this first fair value gap, like tapping into that. Yeah, I mean, my first TP got hit, and then my second one didn't get hit. The one thing yeah, this would have been a better trade, but rather I used this when price respected this and then broke down, and we got this fair value gap right over here. As you guys can see that I used this too short. I used this too short. Rather, these ads. I used this too short, and then first TP did get hit, which was $18. It was $18, and then my second one was, I think it was like down here because we had like a daily low. I think, oh, was this, oh yeah, we had like a daily low. I wanted price to take up, but this one, literally this one, but we're not granted that opportunity. It literally created an SMT divergence on the SP 500. It took it out, but yet it didn't. But I should just be more aware of that first value gap. I didn't mark it on Thursday. Was it Thursday? I didn't mark it on Thursday. So that that's a lesson for sure. I didn't mark it on Thursday. And then price literally retraced back, retraced back, and then yeah, I lost. Ended up being break even. I ended up being break even. I made $18. I lost $20. I only lost $2 on the day. Ended up being break even on this day. And then let me see what else did I write on my notes. Yeah. Um. And then we have Friday, which was yesterday. Thank God it's Friday. I was not even thinking, dude. Nowadays, I genuinely do forget about the thank God it's Friday concept. I really do. I really honestly do. I just literally remembered it right now. Anyway, Friday was a clean trade. I don't know what got a hold of me. I just saw it and then something told me, bro, you gotta take this one. You just gotta take this one. I did not hesitate. I didn't even wait for that 15-minute candle. I had okay, I had a couple of things that gave me the conviction. I'll run through that. Number one, price swept this London low that we had. It swept it and price respected this 15-minute this 50-minute candle right over here, this 50-minute midpoint candle, uh, right? And I was like, okay, that's clean. Then we had obviously while price was falling, we had this first fair value gap. Price broke. We expected this a midpoint of that 50-minute candle. The moment I saw this breakthrough, price disrespect, this first fair value gap, I was like, okay, we're probably gonna buy because also I'm looking at 70, looking at the time. Looking at the time, it was 9:35 at the time. It was 9:35. Where you guys can see when this happened. I was like, okay, price is definitely before 10 o'clock gonna come. That's what I thought. Obviously, it happened like after 10. I was like looking, thinking about the statistics of the 70% of the prime prices wanna come reach the midpoint of the opening range gap right before 10 o'clock, 70% of the time. So I was like, okay, the odds are kind of in my favor if I do try to go for that. It really swept the London low, so why not go long? And I got a couple of confluences that gave me the confidence to do that. And when price disrespected this first early gap, I hopped in. As you guys can see, I entered off literally as this candlestick. Oh yeah. Another thing. Price when Price created this, disrespected it, and then it, what do you call this? We created this for value gap as well. Inside this first fair value gap, I just knew, okay, there's gonna be a clean buy, and I used that to buy. Literally, as we're in, I got a nice fill right there. I bought it while we were in this first fair value gap. Stop loss below the first fair value gap. This one, see this wick below that wick. That was where my stop loss was. Because if I had used this stop loss just to save a bit of money, I would have been stopped out. Literally, if I did this, I would have been stopped out. And that's what the mistake I did the last time. I think it was last week. I made a mistake where I did not use the first fair value gap. I used the first fair value gap to enter, but I did not use the stop loss of the first fair value gap. I used a different, you see, so I kind of learned from that lesson. It's not something you're supposed to do. And then I used the first fair value gap, went to a bit of drawdown, back and forth, back and forth. I think probably just waiting for the news. And yeah, I don't really check the news. I actually forgot there was news. I only saw later. I was like, why is it moving like this? And also we had news at 10 o'clock. And then just before 10 o'clock at 9:56 during the macro, price shot up. And also you guys see created lower high, a lower high, is it a lower high or lower, yeah, lower high, yes. And then it did not want to break any of these lows it was creating, so I knew that, okay, it's just having a slow grind up, and it might just be waiting for maybe the news. And then just before that, price shot up and took, there was first TP, the mana buy side, $36 and 30 something dollars, I think. I'm sure again, was like 35 or something like Bible app. Some Bible app. History. Oh yeah, $36. First TP was like $36. And then second TP was uh $54. It was a good trading day. They covered all the losses of this week. Two losses, one break even, one win. We recovered everything. $10 in profit. So yeah, that was the week for me. And what I'm looking for next week, uh, mm, for this week to come, I do still see sales coming. I'm still confident about the sales, because of how price came into this fair value gap, and then we've been selling since, selling. So I want to see if price gonna continue go lower and take out this sell side liquidity. We have these relative equal lows right there that I'm looking at, long term play, and we have this fair value gap right over here, waiting for price to come back into that. So just gonna have to be a little bit patient and just wait for it to pan out. Just submit to the time and just be patient. So I do still anticipate lower prices for the week or weeks to come. We still have this sell center and marked as well. So the thing about selling these next couple of days or weeks, because in this market, but everything is just happening so fast, so fast. I won't even be surprised when price retreats back up into this fair value gap over here. Like everything is just happening crazy. So Yeah, a bit of really this week really felt slow-ish for me in terms of trading because of the two losses, the back to back, and I don't know, it really defeated me mentally. So yeah, obviously improving every day, trying to get better every day, still chasing consistency. We started the month very well. We started the month very well with 3 wins in a row, and that kind of gave me the confidence. Oh, like, now we got this month on lock. But as you guys can see, this month killed me. It even caused me to blow the account, the funded account that we got. So I had to start from over. One of the other accounts, basically almost blown because of the mini losing streak I was on. Um, so yeah, and also the market has been so volatile. The fair value gaps, they're costing more, and I need to adjust my risk and stuff. And yeah, it's just a lot. It's just honestly a lot, you know. Uh, yeah, always, of course, chasing consistency, improvement, and yeah, man, just trying to chop off the bad habits so one day at a time, consistently improving and stuff. So yeah, that's basically it for me for the weekly review. I hope you guys found some value into this. Uh, yeah, hopefully you guys got some value into this. I'm done. I'm done. Regarding another thing regarding Monday and Tuesday. Okay, let me say Monday. Monday, I'm not sure if I'll be able to be on the chart. I'm gonna do my best because there's just some things I have to deal with, and depending on time and everything, that would the good thing is I don't trade Mondays either way, so that will just determine. Wait, let me pause this actually so that I can check the news. Hold on. Okay. Monday we have no news Monday, and then Tuesday we have 10 o'clock news. Wednesday we have I doubt we're able to get a trade on Wednesday unless we wait for the second macro. Thursday 8:30 news, and then Friday. Oh, it's a bank holiday. Oh my days. Oh, thank God. Never thought I'll see the days I celebrate this, bro. Oh, at least, start of July. Bank holiday. That's calm. So, yeah, Monday, I'm not sure if I'll be able to hop on the charts. If I do my things like fast and I get things done quickly and I'm settled in, I will be able to hop on the charts. I don't know if I'll have access to my monitor though. That's another thing. I don't know if I'll have access to my monitor. I might have to go to my laptop, and it's not that nice. So yeah, I'll sort that, but I'll figure it out. I'll do my best always to show up, of course. If not, try to do the second macro. But I'm trying to do everything in the morning so that the times don't really clash ish. So yeah, I'm gonna see you boys on the next one. Um, enjoy your weekend, stay safe, and yeah, take care. Take care. Take care.